Right, for the recording, this is round 3 of Fight Night 2. We have Venerable Lamasu and Your Dirty Dishes. Take it away whenever you want, gang. We have 2 mulligans to 6. Lamasu is down to 5. Your Dirty Dishes is down to 5. We have 2 mulligans to 5 to start things off. Boy, howdy. Lamasu is on a mull to 4. We still don't have opening hands. What is happening? Well, okay. And Lamasu is mulled to 3 cards. What is the deck list? Hang on, let me have a look at this. Is there something sneaky going on, or is Tom just incredibly unlucky? Yeah, incredibly unlucky. Alright. We have a mull to 3 versus a mull to 5. There's a few ways this could go. But as evidenced by Darksteel Citadel Expedition map, clearly Lamasu has a vague game plan for how this is going to play out. On the other side, we have an Elegant Parlor turn 1. Nice and slow. So we'll see if... we'll see if Tom can pull off a big turn 2 or turn 3 here. Gemstone Caverns, go. Gemstone Caverns Patchwork, go. Okay. Well, Tom is hellbent already, but he does have a Patchwork Automaton. And that isn't the easiest thing to deal with, especially on a mull to 5. So there's a couple of ways this can go. Fisto Roboto, yes. There is definitely some Robotos. Ajani Nakatl Pariah. That is really, really good against Patchwork Automaton. I'm going to assume this map is getting like a Saga. Or maybe a Workshop. Saga, sure. I mean, if you ignore the player's hand sizes, this does look like a relatively normal game. Bots notorious for mulliganing to oblivion to try and find powerful hands. And Hamish down the bottom here. Did mull to 5. Might have been looking for something in particular after seeing the pairings. So we'll see how that goes. We've got a Noble Hierarch into attack with Cat token. Hell yeah. We've got some pressure going. And a Stoneforge. Okay. Well, while this does look scary, I mean, there's definitely a world where Tom just puts, like, some ridiculous permanent into play, like an Ugin the Spirit Dragon. And it's not like it's a huge amount of pressure. Simeon Spirit Guide. There's like a 4th for 4? Holy hell. Has to be, right? Well, the relatively innocuous board state of some guys has turned into a much, much scarier board state of a lot of guys. Boy howdy. So, Hamish is going to get the Monarchy, going to do a bunch of damage. That being said, Tom is going to have the ability to make an extra Saga token if he wants to, and then tutor for an artifact, so he's going to have some 5/5s here. I don't know what he can tutor for that might help him stabilize, but it might just be something like a Soul Ring, at which point he can start digging for action. Shadow Spear would be nice. I'm not certain if he's playing it. It's possible he is. Could also just be a Soul Ring or a Mana Vault or a Lava Spur Boots or something. Relic of Progenitus. We're looking to find something. Hits a workshop. What is a Thran Spider? When it enters, you and target opponent each create a tapped Power Stone. 7, look at the top 4 cards. You may reveal an artifact, put the rest on the board. Thran Spider. Well, Hamish has the Monarch and a bunch of critters. Tom does not have the Monarch, has access to a lot of mana and some really massive guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It's a house in black-white, similar to control in standard. Well, there you go. That is a sentence filled with things that make sense. Blue-white. Yeah, okay. I was going to question that, but I decided against it because I don't know enough about standard. But I was pretty sure the simulacrum was blue. Alright, so Hamish has played a Jit, can attack and get Jit counters. However, the board state is meaningfully bad in that Tom has quite a lot of a size advantage here. So whether or not Hamish plays this really aggressively or really defensively kind of depends on the follow-up. Hasty Philia? That's so gross! Okay, that's messed up. This is so much damage. There's like some reasonable blocks here. We're just going to leave all the humans back. Okay. Taking a much more passive line. I think that's fair. We're just fighting for the board here. Especially with the Monarchy. Lilia is breach comboing, so I'm back here. That's crazy. It doesn't take that long. It's not the fastest thing. Alright, so we've got 6 damage from this Ajani. Interesting interaction here for anyone who didn't know. You can use your Jit counter to kill your Cat Warrior to flip your Ajani. Which I assume is why the Human Knights didn't get in there. Because Hamish wanted more creatures in play for the Ajani. So that it could be protected and it could do a bunch of damage. If Tom draws something massive to play, he can very, very easily win this game. Unfortunately, it can't be like an Ugin because a lot of his mana is tied up in Workshop at the moment, and it's not an Academy. But there are definitely a bunch of things he can draw that would be very, very good here. We're activating Fomori Vault. Okay, we're digging. Found a discarded a Metal Worker. Makes sense on this board state. Okay, getting our patchwork a bit bigger. Last card in hand is going to have to be really good. We dead here? Pretty dead. Hasty Felia off Arena of Glory is sick, by the way. Touch the Spirit Realm. Largely a nothing burger on this board state. Shouldn't matter. Alright, Tom's gonna take the 1 billion damage, and then Ajani will clean it up. Game 1 of round 3 goes to Hamish. In the mull to 5 versus mull to 3. So we've got a Naya mid-range deck here. We haven't seen any points yet. And Tom's obviously on bots. So I'm assuming the fact that it's Naya, they probably have quite a lot of sideboard cards for this matchup. I haven't kept too much up to date with bots and how much they're packing in their sideboard for these mid-range matchups, but I can't imagine it's too many cards. So we're probably going to be done with sideboarding and getting into game 2 pretty quickly, I would say. Sorry everyone, just doing some admin. Actually, here's a question for you in chat. If you've been watching the Fight Night series both this week and last week, but you haven't been able to play, is there a particular time that would let people play that I've missed? Or is it mainly just Moto is scary, or you don't plan on playing these events and just kind of want to watch them? I'm looking to grow the project and get more people involved in Fight Night. So a big part of that is working out exactly what the barriers to entry are. Moto is scary, that's very fair move. Moto is kind of terrifying. Alright, Tom is taking a free mulligan with Serum's Powder. He's got rid of 2 Tron lands, a workshop, and a temple. That's a big mulligan. And is now mulliganing to 6. Not even memeing? No, I believe you. I believe that's face up. Moto is a decent barrier to entry. Hamish is also mulling to 6. So we've got 2 more mulligans. to go with our 6 mulligans from game 1. Got 8 total mulligans so far. That number may continue. No, Tom kept 6? Hell yeah. Let's go, bots. Kept a 6. And Hamish has kept a 6. There is an upkeep Devour of Destiny, or a pre-game action Devour of Destiny, rather. Urza's Bauble to power up Academy into map. Okay. It's a bit of a slow start, but is going to have access to Academy mana next turn. Hamish's start is a tapped Arena of Glory. That is pretty damning. I would say, assuming Tom has any kind of follow-up, he's probably at least 70% right now. No Mana Dork, no 1-drop, no Surveil Land. So, Tom has access to 2 mana plus a third and maybe a fourth, depending on if he has a second land and what that land is. I think the notion of cracking map is probably a bit daunting because it's shrinking the Academy. But if you're getting like Seed of the Synod or Darksteel Citadel, it's not quite so bad. It kind of depends on how much he thinks he needs to get to Devourer, because Devourer costs 7, which is a lot, and you can't just use 7 Academy mana for it because it does have 2 Colourless pips. So we'll see what happens here. He's gonna crack the map. Okay, a couple of different lands he could get here. Could be Saga, could be Beseiju, although I don't actually know if he's playing green. Could be an artifact land for Academy and to make the land drop. We'll see what he gets. Getting Ugin's Labyrinth, sure. So it's another soul land. Can tuck the Devourer away and follow it up with something. Ballista for 1, sure. So it's definitely a slow start here. Tom will have access to 4 mana next turn, pending any other increases to that amount. If the Ballista dies, it's also a Stone Rain. If the Bauble dies for some reason, that's a Stone Rain. If the Soul Land blows up, that's pretty bad. So Hamish is really looking for a very high impact turn 2 here. And we have already seen Spirit Guide. A Lush Portico is probably not going to cut it. Although, there are some real haymakers that could be on the horizon. Otherwise, it might be a couple of turns of not much followed by death. Tom's mana has been relatively untouched, and there are a lot of ways to interact with bot's mana. So, well, we'll see if anything comes out of this. There's no way it's attack with Ballista Go, right? Oh, it is. Oh boy. Okay, well, let's see if the power of Colourless utility lands can beat whatever this is from Naya. A Magus. Yeah. Magus is fine though, right? Unless there's something else. Because Tom can grow the Ballista and then just trade, I guess? Or even play a land and then gobble up the Magus. Thanks for the venom dipping. Catch you later, JD. Have a good night. Kozilek's command. Oh boy-o. That is much better than putting a ballista counter. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so there was a Magus put on the stack, a bunch of mana floated in response. Kozilek's command to eat the Magus, make a bunch of spawn tokens, and now all of that is dying to Fury. Boy howdy. This game is returning to the Stone Age. So now Tom's lost an artifact for his academy. The Magus is gone, which was interrupting the mana. Tom's lost his Ballista and all of his spawn tokens. And so now it's kind of just some stuff versus some stuff. Gaming. Lodestone's pretty good. If it sticks, you know, if Hamish needs to spend mana to cast Mana Dorks, it's going to be pretty terrible. However, if it's 3 mana for an Ajani, and the Ajani goes untouched, that is going to brick wall this 5/3. That is a very real thing. This is a very weird board state. I think that's the easiest way to phrase it. How these early turns have gone. Yeah, this is really strange. I can't tell who's ahead. I think it really depends on both players' hands at this point. I think looking at the board, it's pretty close. Like, Tom doesn't have access to as much mana as he would like, that's for sure. And this cranial plating isn't going to help this lodestone punch through. I mean, it'll make it bigger, but yeah. Alright, cranial plating, equip, go. We know that one of Hamish's cards in hand is an Elvish Spirit Guide, which is definitely a blank. So depending on what the rest of the hand makeup is, although he is exiling the Spirit Guide, so he's playing a 3-drop here. Laelia? That does attack through Lodestone Golem. That's kind of crazy. Alright. Does not hit a land. Okay. So my guess is Tom just takes 3. And we return to kind of an even footing. I mean, he's building up a mass of artifacts. He does have a decent amount of mana. Oh no, he's going to block. Okay. I mean, that's fair. The Lodestone's getting brickwalled by the Ajani. I guess if you keep your life total high, you have more turns to draw into random artifacts. Thought Knot, sure. Thought Knot is going to see Meltdown and Seasoned Dungeoneer. And Exile Seasoned Dungeoneer, that's crazy. Okay, so Hamish has a Meltdown in hand. But fortunately for Tom, he has one artifact. And it doesn't matter a whole lot. This game state is so weird. Neither player can attack. They're both kind of just going to sit here drawing cards and doing things. Alright, Hardcaster Once Upon a Time. That timing's a bit interesting. I think we could have waited till end step. I'm not quite sure what we're trying to gain by doing it at sorcery speed here. Because we already hit the Fury. And the other card's Meltdown, can't pitch it to Solitude. It's probably just a minor thing. Jeweled Amulet gives an artifact for Academy. We're probably going to start making fish, would be my guess. This game's so anemic. We're on turn 7. Life totals are 20 to 15. And at least 3 of that damage on Hamish was from Horizon Canopy. I'm pretty sure like 2 damage has been done. Alright, Meltdown for 2. Tag these 2. Make some mana in response. Could make a treasure, could make a fish. Again, nothing really happening. Making a treasure to turn the Academy back on, sure. Cat Warrior can't attack. Thought Knot can't attack. Hamish has now spent the Meltdown and played the Wooded Foothills from the Once Upon a Time. So we're basically in this really anemic top deck war, where Hamish has a bunch of broken sideboard cards he can draw, and Tom has a bunch of broken spells he can draw. And I don't know who's favoured. It's like a Hangerbag Walker? Chalice for 2. Okay, well that turns off Null Rod, Collector Oof, Stony Silence. And obviously actual 2-drops. So that's probably very good. Or at least quite good. So now every turn someone draws a 2-drop is a blank. It's pretty bad. Blazed Ugin, thanks for the follow. Welcome, Sahar. Good to have you, bud. Mental Misstep targeting Ignoble Hierarch. I mean, okay. Both players have 1 card in hand, and there are so few permanents that matter. Bioforce. Well, that's another sideboard card. But I've only tagged a treasure token and a chalice. Like, this is still anyone's game. Tom is working with a lot less mana than he would like. That is a decently good draw. Probably start cracking in now, right? Hell yeah. Start ending this game. Does have a Shadow Spear. So now the Ajani is flipped, but I mean there's no other permanents in play. So Ajani being flipped kind of just makes cats. But they're not as trample. I think this is now probably decently in Tom's favor. I'd say like 65-35. I mean, there's only so many more cards both players can draw that brick them. Sooner or later, both players are just going to become completely live. I'm going to try to clear this Ajani. And that does it. Okay. Alright, well, Hamish realistically needs to draw something this turn that matters. I think we're getting to a point where the Thought Knot life gain is just going to buy Tom enough time to draw out of any particular board state that could happen, including things like Blood Moon. Make a treasure token for the Academy. Woo! Could have made a fish for the Cradle. This is a nonsense game. I can't believe we've hit turn 11. This is so ridiculous. It was a turn 1 Academy and we've hit turn 11. I just want everyone to soak that in real quick. Patchwork, sure. Alright. It's gotta be a good one. Jit is technically a good one. By the barest definition. If we attack, we go to, like, 2? Okay. So if both players keep bricking... I mean, we have to clear this Thought Knots here. And that just, like, hasn't happened yet. What is this? Are we just making a treasure? Okay. Yeah, okay. Never mind. I thought there was some weird spell going on the stack. But we're just spending the Academy mana before it blows up. Yeah, okay. So now you can gain 2 life with the Jit to not be dead. Tom now has access to 900 mana. Oh yeah, that'll do it. Alright, let's go to game 3. That was Tom's turn 12. That he hit his 5th land and his 8th mana. That's crazy. Anyway, we're going to go to game 3. They're both mulled to 6 that game. I think if they both keep 7, that's really bad for Hamish on average. I would expect Tom to mulligan to like 5.5 on average with bots. And Hamish's Naya mid-range deck in this particular matchup, with how many cards we've seen out of the board, probably mulligans to about 6.3, I would say. So we'll see what happens in the actual game here. Hamish has kept 7. Tom mulls to 6. Tom mulls to 5. I don't know why you pointed Academy. Deck is trash. Because Academy is a messed up card. End of story. It is an absurd card to be at one point. Just like objectively speaking. Alright, so Tom's kept 5. Hamish is on 7. But doesn't have a turn 1 play. So probably has a reactionary hand with a 2-drop would be my guess. Turn 1 City Grim Monolith? Okay, well, if both of these stick, that is a lot of mana. He got beaten to death by Luris. I don't think there's anything anyone could have done to help with that. Sometimes you just die to Luris. Has 3 power. Drawing non-land would have helped? Yeah, that's crazy. Exile Simian Spirit Guide. Exile Elvish Spirit Guide. We're playing a 4-drop? It's like a Dungeoneer? Whew! Turn 2 Dungeoneer off Spirit Guide, Spirit Guide. Hamish has gone to 3 cards in hand, plus now a basic. Tom will untap with 6 mana. So Hamish is powered out of 4-drop on turn 2. But Tom can beat that with like an 8-drop, I think, at maximum. Tap City, play Workshop, play an 8-drop. That's probably the actual maximum. Might not even be good enough. Depends what it is. And that's the thing with bots. He probably doesn't have any control over what he has to cast. He just has to click the button. Alright. We're blowing up City. It's gonna have to be good. It's not the worst thing. Thought Not sees Plains, 4th Earlingers, Jit, and Palantir. Okay. Well, I mean, Hamish has the initiative, but his hand is real light now. But again, he has the initiative, so Tom is probably going to need a bit more juice to get out of this one. And he's trying to work out what to take, and I don't blame him. His hand is real whack. If you take the Palantir, you avoid the draw engine. If you take the 4th Earlingers, then you could die to Jit. You could die to Palantir. It also depends on if his follow-up play is answering this Dungeoneer or not. Because, like, this is pretty bad. This is a lot of damage. Like, Forge on Season Dungeoneer after casting it on turn 2 is so much damage. That's like dead on turn 4. No, dead on turn 5. Looks like we are going to play 4th Earlingers here. And Thornod's here does not have Trample. So, if all of this happens, Hamish is going to become the Monarch and get in an absolute crap ton of damage. And Tom's down to a Temple and a Monolith. But I mean, Soul Land All is Dust. That's pretty good. Actually, Soul Land All is Dust is incredible here. Because then we get the initiative and the monarchy. And Hamish has no permanence. Is it that? Soul Land All is Dust is very, very good here. Shadow Spear is reasonably good if there's some follow-up way to deal with the Dungeoneer. But at the moment, Dungeoneer cracking in for 6, maybe 7, plus a trap. It's like a minimum of 11 damage. And so even if you attack to get those mechanics back, you still take 11 next turn. At like a minimum. It's not great. Forsaken Monument. Okay, so we're just going to try to beat out the mechanics. I don't know if this is ever good enough. So 6/6 Thought Knot, so it can block the human, that's easy. It can block the human even if there's a Jit equipped somewhere. Seasoned Engineer is getting in 6, which is, again, so much damage. So I guess Tom's hoping a backdoor in Ugin with Monument. Tap the Monolith for it, but hope to be able to get the job done otherwise. I mean, I guess that's a reasonable out. Yep, we go to 3 for some Jit counters. Draw a card. I mean, Hamish's follow-up after turn 2 Dungeoneer has been very close to nothing burgers. Like, 4th Elingus was fine, but it was a 3-mana 2/2 that's drawn him some cards. And Jit got played and equipped, and that was it. Like, it's really just been turn 2 Dungeoneer. That's, like, the whole game that's played out so far. And if that's good enough, we will probably find out quite soon. And if it's not good enough, then the game will continue. But if Tom can get out of this, like, dead in 2 turn spot, he probably wins this game. More often than not. Like, if he can do a big thing to bail him out of this spot, probably wins. Because Monument will gain him life to get him out of burn range. Give him enough mana to do stuff. It's gonna have to be something. Yeah, that always has to block. Yeah. Alright, turn 2 Dungeoneer gets the job done. GG's. Hamish wins 2-1 over Tom Bot for round 3.